let me pop my hood for you real quick. What is up, YouTube? Crafting Cars here. Happy Tuesday. Now in today's video I've got a lot of huge updates to share with you, especially since we've made a lot of progress since my last upload last Tuesday. So I'll go ahead, walk you guys around the car, and then towards the end of the video I got to install one last hood latch into my carbon fiber hood here. I already installed one Aerocatch hood latch here, and just to get some practice in, and then I'll show you guys how I go about installing these things on the next latch. And yeah. Hopefully if I get everything latched down, I'll be able to drive this thing into work today, but I got like an hour, so we'll see if that happens. Alrighty, so now as far as updates, as you can see, I kind of got everything pieced back together here. I got all the connecting rods thrown back on, and then I retorqued them using Gideon's nice snap-on digital torque wrench. And then I put the pickup tube back on, made sure everything was clean, oil pan back on, torqued that all down. And then as you can see, I got the exhaust back on and the turbo back on. I've got all the exhaust past the turbo all the way to the muffler reinstalled. And while I had that turbo off, I took the time and rebuilt it. See, I got some of the old seals and bearings and stuff over here. It was in pretty rough shape. I've actually got a picture of what it looked like when I took it off. There was a ton of oil coming out of the exhaust side. I'll just put that picture right here. So yeah, as you can see, it was pretty gnarly, but we seem to be in good shape now. There's very minimal shaft play, and there's absolutely none in and out, which is really good. And then if I take you to the interior of the car, maybe some of you guys will notice this difference, some of you may not, but I got a center console now. So this car hasn't had a center console in like over 2 years. So on Facebook Marketplace, I managed to find a 5-speed center console. I went ahead and painted it black, just to kind of go with the whole two-tone theme here. And yeah, so I'm super excited about that. One other thing I do have, this is a OBD1 B series red Dragonfire distributor. And basically what makes this thing special is it's got a thermal coating on the outside. That's what gives it this red color, just to keep the electronics cool on the inside. It's got a upgraded ignition coil built into it. And then basically everything is like OEM quality, plus a little extra. And that's basically important for providing like a good enough spark, especially at like wide open throttle on the dyno, especially under boost applications and stuff like that. So this should help out quite a bit, and I kind of wanted to pick this up before I went to the dyno, which is coming up this Friday. Wanted to make sure that I had a good enough spark, since the distributor I have on there right now is kind of like a Chinese knockoff, so wanted to get a good one on there. And so I'll make a video about this in my next video, and then the video after that will be going to the dyno. So hopefully everything works out. I'm kind of crossing my fingers here, but I'm sure it will. So yep, you can look forward to that in the coming episode. All right, so now we can move on to the next step, which is installing this second latch here. Now this is everything I recommend to have on hand for installing these things. I recommend having a Dremel tool, especially if you got like one with a sanding drum on it, helps quite a bit. You're definitely gonna want a good cutoff wheel, either electric or pneumatic. Center punch is the spring-loaded one, helps out quite a bit. And this is a carbide cutting tool, which helps quite a bit. I could stick this in my Dremel, and basically it's super nice because not only does it cut, but the surface of this has some grit on it, and you can kind of like push it through the fiberglass and carbon fiber, and it kind of eats away at it and helps like get in the tight corners and everything like that. You're gonna want a Sharpie to kind of mark everything, crescent wrench, and of course your latch and your hardware. And I definitely also recommend that you wear a face mask or a respirator or something like that, as well as a pair of safety glasses, because when you start cutting into this stuff, it gets extremely dusty, and you definitely don't want any of that in your mouth hole or your eyeballs. Alrighty, so let's get right into it. The first step is installing the striker bolt here and kind of fastening it down. So you're going to want to find a hole on the front of your car, probably on the radiator support. On a Honda, I recommend using this hole right here. This is where that usual rubber hood stopper screws into place. Basically what I do is I just kind of bend this hole nice and flat, and then you can take your hardware here, and you're going to want to put the pin at its lowest point. Drop it in like that, and tighten down the other side. Alright, so now that you got your pin into place, you're going to want to grab some toothpaste or basically any paste or anything that you can see clearly, and dab it on top of the pin here. Lower the hood onto that pin, like so. Lift the hood back up, And there you'll see, I got a little dot there, and that's exactly where I'm gonna wanna drill my hole for my latch. And it's definitely a good idea before you start drilling or cutting anything to tape off this surface and then mask off your engine bay, because you don't want any of that fiberglass or carbon fiber hanging around in there. So, here we go. Now, this is by far the scariest part for most people, but this is what you're gonna wanna do. Take your center punch, and right in the center of that dot that you made, press it in, just like that. What that's gonna do is guide your drill bit so you can drill a nice straight hole. Clenching your butt cheeks the whole time. Just like that, we're just gonna go through the first layer for now. Now what you can do is take this little piece here right off your latch and kind of plan out where your latch is gonna be. It kind of sits like this, and I like to have mine parallel with the side of the hood. So I'm just gonna kind of make a mark of everything that I should cut out. Just gotta approximate on the bottom side. The top side is where you really wanna be accurate with your cut, but here you can just kind of get crazy with it. So I'm gonna cut out basically this whole section here. Alright, so as you can see, we got this nice big area cut out here. And what we're gonna wanna do is peel back the canvas here. And then we're gonna go ahead and remark our pin. Boop. And basically we're gonna do the same thing we did the first time to get our mark up on the hood. We're gonna close the hood. What might need to happen though is you might need to raise this up just a little bit just so you can make contact with the top of the hood, since this point is a little bit higher than the point that we were contacting before. All right, so we got our new mark right there. We're gonna center punch that, and we're gonna drill through the top layer of carbon fiber. All right, so now that you got your hole there, I'll mark mine a little better. Now that you got your hole there, what I did is I went ahead and made a stencil. And this is basically what the inside of the latch looks like. So this is gonna be the part that actually slides through the hood. So we gotta cut this shape out of the hood. And so I got the stencil here. I line up that middle hole. And I'm gonna try to make it identical to the one over there. I basically had this side here parallel to the side of the hood here, so it's pretty easy to line up. Kind of just eyeball it, but if you're pretty anal, you can measure it as well. I just want to get it close. All right, now this is kind of the scariest part here. So what I like to do is take my cutoff wheel, cut these straight lines first. Then what I do is just kind of fill up this whole area with a bunch of small cuts, and then I'll come back in and clean it up with my Dremel cutting tool, and then with the little Dremel drum sander. So let's get right into it. So now I switched to my drum sander attachment, and I'm just gonna keep grinding away at the inside, getting it nice and smooth and opening it up a little bit. You can take this piece, and as you can see right now, it doesn't really fit, but a little smoothing and I'm sure it's gonna fit right in. Money. All right, so now I'm gonna check that after all this work, we're still lined up. And then if we are, we'll go ahead and drill these small holes that secure the latch. There we go. Boom. That's gonna be good right there. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and mark the holes. We'll unlatch it. And I'll probably just drill with this thing right on here and just use it as a guide. And I think I can go ahead and peel off the tape now. Alrighty, so at this point, we should be good to go installing the latch and this bracket here. Unfortunately, I gotta head on off to work, so I will be back tomorrow morning. Bye-bye. Transition. Alrighty, so next step is to get this thing on here. I take this piece here, and I just drop it right through the top, like so. And then I take this bracket. This basically bolts up like that, using this hardware. And it just kind of sandwiches it in place. So I'll set the camera up and go ahead and install it. So there you have it. This is what it looks like from the bottom. It's nice because the bracket has little cutouts, so the nuts fit in there really nice and snug. Moment of truth. Holy crap, it lines up first try. That's pretty insane. But as you can see, we can still tilt it a little bit more this way. I got it kind of loose in there. And then we'll see what the fitment's looking like. All right, so as you can see on this side, when I lock it down, the hood is super tight. I could try to lift up on it and it doesn't give. So if I was in like a windy situation or going pretty fast on the highway, I obviously don't want this hood shaking around. But if you go down to this side and I lock it down, I can still jiggle it up and down a little bit. It's kind of hard to see on camera. But how you resolve that issue is by putting a little piece of rubber on there. And they send the rubber with the kits. Basically all you do is you slide the rubber over the bolt, and then you basically just kind of cut it down until when you put the pin in, you almost have to like push down the hood to get the pin to slide in. You want it to be a really tight fit right against the top of the hole on the pin. So you just kind of have to push down on the hood just to get that pin right underneath, kind of grinding along the top surface of that hole. That's how you get a nice tight fitting hood. All right, so after cutting away a little bit of rubber, I think I found the perfect height. As you can see, it's just a tiny bit shorter now. But when I close the hood, you almost want to have to press a little bit on the hood to get it to latch. And that is tight. It feels a lot tighter than OEM, which I think is the whole idea behind hood pins. But yeah, it feels awesome. That definitely ain't going anywhere. And by the looks of it, I'm pretty sure I got them symmetrical. Honestly, I just kind of eyeballed it. I was gonna make measurements, but when it's this close to this line here and this line here, you just gotta have like a really nice reference for both sides. So I don't know, maybe you could tell me if it doesn't look symmetrical, but looks close enough to me, so. And there you have it, hood and hood latches installed DIY style. As you can see, it's not too difficult as long as you got the right tools for the job. Some major advantages, of course, we got the weight reduction from the carbon fiber hood, and then we got these latches that hold it down nice and tight, so we don't have any more instances of hoods flying up or anything like that. And I went ahead and got the locking hood pins, so I can go ahead and lock each one of my hood pins just so in case anyone's trying to like pull up my hood or anything like that, makes it a little harder for them. And I think the best part about this whole thing is just the absolute sheer amount of street cred you get and the tactile feel of these latches. It's just, oh, let me pop my hood for you real quick. It doesn't get any better than that. So once again, thanks for tuning in to Crafting Cars. I gotta go inside, eat some food, edit this video, and go to sleep. But I definitely am super excited to get this thing back out on the road. I should be good to go. I did a couple startups to see if my oil pressure was back in business after all the previous work I've done the past week. And it looks like we're good to go, so I'll be taking it out. It's really cold and there's a lot of salt on the road, so maybe I'll wait till the salt's washed off the road. But anyway, got that distributor to install, and then boom, we're going to the dyno. So I'm super stoked. Hopefully you guys are super excited as well. And another thing, we are getting really close to 300 subscribers. Our goal at Crafting Cars is we want to get to 300 subscribers by the end of the year, and we'll be doing a 300 subscriber giveaway, giving away some stickers and a bunch of other good stuff. So not going to want to miss that. And yeah, stay tuned for Tuesdays and Fridays videos, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.